Turning Red, Pixar Animation Studios' brand new movie, premieres exclusively on Disney Plus Hotstar on March 11th. Now, we had a chance to sit down to speak to some of the incredible minds that made this movie happen. In this interview, I speak to director Domee Shi and producer Lindsey Collins about how they created the world of Turning Red. Check it out. Let's go. Congratulations on Turning Red. Before we get into it, first up, I have to ask, at which point during the writing of Turning Red did you go, in sync, mispronouncing me is the perfect song for what I'm trying to achieve?
I mean, I feel like I've always heard that line in the song as May. Just I don't know,
Right?
Like,
we used to make fun of it all the time. Yeah.
Justin Timberlake would pronounce it. It's gonna be, and then it was like a meme. It just felt like the perfect song. It was always gonna be May.
Very, very cool. So talk to me about that transition, because I think that's the one thing I've always been curious about, which is the transition from, Oscar-winning animated short director to getting your own feature film. How does that work at Pixar?
Yeah, everyone's path to directing a feature is different. For me, I think Bao was definitely my gateway into directing a feature film. After I finished Bao, Pixar approached me to start developing 3 ideas to pitch for a feature film. And I felt lucky in that I was able to get a little taste of the whole production pipeline through making Bao, because every step was kind of the same as a feature film, except it was more condensed. It was only 8 minutes, and we just did it in a year. But I already had experience, like a little bit of experience going into editing, directing animation, layout, lighting, effects, like simulation. I had a little taste of that already. So I kind of had a little bit of an idea of what to expect.
Very cool. Lindsey, it feels like your job as a producer got a whole lot harder during the pandemic, having to corral hundreds of people who weren't in one place.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways, I think it certainly got a lot harder. I think for Domee for sure, because I mean, and I've said this to her before. I feel like I find so much value in the walking down the hallway conversations, in the kind of, you just finish a review and you're walking out of the art room and walking down to the screening room with the director and being able to have that quick, you seem like you weren't super happy with that. Do you want us to go back in and kind of change it? Or that was great. I hope you know that, man, that was an awesome, I love that idea. Just that kind of feedback and those quick conversations that kind of make sure that you're closing a loop, or that you're reassuring, that you're not kind of directing in a vacuum. I mean, it's the antithesis of what Pixar is, and why we all are in one building, and why we kind of value the collaboration, the in-person collaboration. So in some ways, I was more just spending my time being like, I can't believe she's having to just, sit here and direct animation and then shut down her computer and that's it. I hope it all went well. In some ways, weirdly, I think because everybody was going through this massive, horrible, difficult time, there was a real sense of work being the lifeboat, I think, for a lot of people, and people really appreciating having those times with people that they knew really well, that made them laugh. Being able to sit down and watch animation dailies and laugh at their performance in the middle of the mayhem that was the world was kind of a lifeboat. And I'm not sure, I think if anything, it really bonded the crew in a weird way, in ways that sometimes it's hard to do in person, because everybody's like, oh yeah, I'll see you tomorrow at lunch or whatever. But this, for whatever reason, I think the common experience of going through it really made people value the time that we had together, on Zoom, and value the work we were doing in a weird way more than maybe we would have if we were in person. So I don't know. That's the silver lining, I guess.
You're absolutely right, though. I think work was a lifeboat. We needed something to do other than just bicker with our families.
Yeah, watch the news. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Domee, the one thing that always stands out for me with a Pixar production is that these animated characters don't feel like shells with voices. They feel like they're acting. They feel like they're genuinely performing. And with the little bit that we got to see of Turning Red, also, yeah, no thanks for that, by the way, because now I've got to wait months to see the whole movie. But I think believable is the word I'm looking for.
Mhm.
And can you talk to me about getting, both the performances from the voice actors, but also just getting that animation to feel believable, like it's like they're acting.
Yeah, yes, it's definitely all the animators and the magic that they work when they take these like voice clips from the voice actors. They would act it out themselves. Like the animators are our actors at Pixar. When I kick off a shot to an animator, I'm always kicking it off from the character's emotion and their intention. So like, for example, like we'll kick off one shot, Mei is suddenly, feeling like the entire world is watching her and she's like terrified. And I always try to describe Mei's acting through what she's feeling. So instead of just trying to describe what I want her facial expressions to be on the surface, I try to give the animators like as much information as possible in terms of how the character's feeling and what they want in that shot or in that scene. And I think that really helps them, that helps inform them on the character's performance. All of those details help inform the animator and in terms of like the acting choices that they make. Yeah, but I think a lot of it too just comes from knowing your character and their personality and how they would react in certain situations and their relationship with the character that they're interacting with in the scene too.
Very cool.
I mean,
I've
they're
got like
also like always going. I mean, the amazing thing about animation dailies is that they, they're all watching each other's shots. That's not always the case, but for animation in particular, it is kind of expected that all the animators show up, even if you're not showing something, you're showing up to watch everybody else's performances. And they, they're performers, right? So they're also going for the reactions. I mean, so that if they can get a laugh out of Domee or even, the rest of their team and their animation team, it's like, that's what they live for. So they're always kind of bringing their A game because they feel like they're being surrounded by their peers who are all bringing theirs. So it's this really kind of, if Domee could laugh, I mean, she watching her on, she'd be acting it out too, as she was like trying to say the line. So I'm sure there's a lot of video somewhere of Domee just acting out every shot as she's kicking it off.
Turning Red, incredible from what I've seen. I can't wait to watch the whole movie. Just very quickly before I wrap, a year ago, we didn't have Disney Plus in Malaysia. So we still got to see Soul on the big screen and Onward on the big screen. But then they just launched Disney Plus. So now I'm not going to watch it on the big screen, but I'm still really, really looking forward to it. But thank you.
Find a big TV to watch it.
Buy a big TV. That's the goal.
I'll tell that. I'll say that. I'll tell my wife that you said to do that.
It's important.
Yeah. See you later.
I'm calm. Zen. Yes! No!
That was director Domee Shi and producer Lindsey Collins. Turning Red premieres exclusively on Disney Plus Hotstar on March 11th. Don't forget to check out our other YouTube videos. Like, subscribe, comment, tell your friends, tell your family. You know what to do.